Something you long believed to be true but realized wasn't.
Well, as one of the main opponents of the Illuminati, I always wanted to know what information they had that we didn't.
Life, it's fragile, and in the blink of an eye,
You never know.
you never know. So speaking of legacy, what do you hope that your legacy is going to be?
There is part of me that I will be able to leave this earth, knowing and people knowing that I was a good person.
We finally have an update on the drowning death of Malcolm Jamal Warner. Now, according to ABC7, they stated that Malcolm Jamal Warner had drowned while he was on vacation in Costa Rica. Now, the article goes on to say that Warner had drowned off the coast of Costa Rica on Sunday.
Katt Williams has always kept it real, saying straight up that if you don't play the game in Hollywood, especially as a black man, they'll ice you out fast. And when you look at how Malcolm Jamal Warner's career went down, it hits different. He wasn't out chasing clout, and he straight up turned down roles that made black men look goofy or weak. Malcolm refused to sell out. He didn't do the whole throw on a dress and act like a fool just to get a check. And because of that, they quietly pushed him to the sidelines, not because he didn't have the skills. He did. He was talented, smart, and had something real to say, but he didn't play puppet, so they left him out of the spotlight. Now, suddenly that he's gone, the same media and celebs who ignored him are calling him a legend. Now he's underrated, please. Where was all that love when he was alive and grinding on his own terms? Where were the flowers when he was standing up for something? This ain't about conspiracy nonsense, it's about patterns. Katt Williams has been calling this stuff out for years. He's been saying how the industry turns on folks who say, nah, I'm not doing that. And now, once Malcolm's gone, they want to act like they always respected him. Let's really get into it, what Katt's been exposing, what Malcolm stood for, and why all this phony praise is popping up now that he can't speak for himself to.
Because I've spent, so much of the early part of my life listening to, being celebrated on one hand, but paying way too much attention to the naysay.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, the man we all knew and loved as Theo from The Cosby Show, tragically passed on July 20th, 2025. He was on a peaceful family trip in Lemon, Costa Rica, just trying to enjoy life swimming in the ocean with his 8-year-old daughter when things suddenly took a dark turn. They got pulled into a powerful rip current. That beach is notorious for being risky, with no lifeguards posted most of the time. On that day, not a single lifeguard was stationed there. Resources had already been moved to other beaches after some recent emergencies.
These are the first things we saw when we pulled up to the beach. Signs in Spanish and English warning people about potentially hazardous conditions. This sign even giving a roadmap for how to escape a rip current.
Some nearby surfers spotted the chaos and immediately jumped into action. One was able to save Malcolm's daughter just in time. Another tried to get to Malcolm, but it was too late. When emergency responders finally arrived, they couldn't bring him back. Malcolm died from drowning. The brave surfer who tried to rescue him was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Later, the autopsy confirmed what everyone feared was a tragic accident, nothing more.
Rican Beach, where officials say a dangerous rip current swept away Malcolm Jamal Warner, the Cosby Show star, drowning in secluded paradise on Sunday.
What makes that beach so treacherous?
It's similar to other beaches where there are strong rip currents that are deceiving.
Mike Geist helps run a volunteer lifeguard organization here. He says while no lifeguards were on duty that day, Geist's friend, who happens to be a trained lifeguard, was there to surf and discovered Warner unresponsive in the water. Costa Rica's Red Cross says they were able to rescue another man alive who was taken to a clinic in critical condition.
Rica, Jesse, officials say Warner's autopsy is now complete.
It was completed this morning, according to authorities, Tom, and they say that it confirmed that Warner's drowning death was, in fact, an accident.
And what made this loss even heavier? Malcolm wasn't your typical child star story. He never spiraled. He never embarrassed himself or sold out. He stayed grounded, focused, and respected. He built his own empire, a nominated actor, Grammy-winning musician, director, poet, activist. He did it all without causing scandals or making headlines for the wrong reasons. He stayed married, had no messy divorces, and raised his daughter right. No drama, no secrets, a real one through and through.
So even before conception, we were very clear we were having a girl. And I knew that I needed a girl first to kind of ease me into it, because I have a pretty good idea of what kind of father I would be. So I needed a girl to kind of, slow me down and warm, soften me up, if you will. So for me, raising my daughter, I came into fatherhood already with a certain maturity and certain understanding of male-female dynamics. And with a girl, all of that starts with the father. So I've always, since I literally pulled her out of my wife.
Everybody who worked with Malcolm had nothing but love for him, nothing. He was the type of man who moved with quiet confidence, a real one who never had to flex loud to prove his worth. And then, just like that, he's gone. A freak accident snatches him away at 54, after a lifetime of staying healthy and out of trouble, while chilling with his family in literal paradise. The only heartbreaking part of Malcolm's story is that it ended too soon. But let's be real, he mastered life. He lived it with purpose, integrity, and gave the world a real example of how to do it right. But now, we've got to talk about what nobody wants to admit: how Hollywood low-key ghosted this man while he was alive. And suddenly, Katt Williams' warnings are making way too much sense. Malcolm didn't disappear. He didn't fall off. He just didn't want to play that shady game. After the Cosby Show, he could have taken the easy route to big money sitcoms, goofy roles, those loud clownish parts they throw at black men. But Malcolm said, no thanks. He wasn't about to be a joke for a check. No dresses, no silly stereotypes, none of that tap dancing nonsense. He chose dignity over fame. He wanted to represent, not entertain, at the cost of his identity. And here's where Katt Williams fits in. He's been shouting this for years.
Some of us make choices. I think it's not a biggest choice for others. I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next. Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
We all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
Interviews and podcasts everywhere, Katt's been saying that once a black entertainer refuses to play the role they try to box you into, they label you as crazy, difficult, or unreliable.
There has never been a person that has been parodied 9 times on Saturday Night Live and yet never been invited, other than me. I, at this point, take it as a badge of honor that they don't fuck with me. A lot of times when people are doing an impression of you, they're really showing you how they feel about you. You know what I mean? So for Saturday Night Live to have an impression of me and have a woman do that means they think I'm a bitch. And I understand that that's what they're saying when they do that. I understand how the game goes, and I understand that if you love me, I know why you do. And if you don't with me, I understand why.
Just like they did to him, just like they did to Malcolm. Malcolm was the full package, talented, sharp, and focused. But because he didn't fit the cookie-cutter formula and refused to clown around for the cameras, Hollywood kept him pushed to the side. Still, Malcolm wasn't begging for a seat at their table. He wasn't pressed. He built his own lane and thrived without the Hollywood machine trying to shape his image. He launched a podcast called Not All Hood, where he kept it raw, calling out how Hollywood and mainstream media love to box black people into one narrative. Like we all think, act, and live the same way.
For the title is combating the narrative of black life, black culture that the media focuses on. And
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The black community is not a monolith.
He never backed down from that truth. Instead of selling out, Malcolm poured his energy into projects that actually mattered. He took on work centered around social justice and education, producing plays and documentaries that highlighted black history, systemic racism, and real community struggles. He wasn't about hype, he was about impact. And in 2021, he came even harder with a powerful op-ed for the Television Academy. He didn't sugarcoat a thing. Malcolm called out the reality that white execs, writers, and directors still run the show when it comes to how black folks are portrayed on TV. He wrote that during those so-called diversity cycles, the industry pretends to loosen the gate and let black creatives in, but the stereotypes still sneak through. just dressed up in suits and college degrees. Malcolm didn't stop there. He wasn't feeling the direction modern hip-hop was going either. He stood up against the misogyny, the fake bravado, and the toxic energy that's been floating around. He wanted real healing, real growth, and he said so.
There should be a moratorium on both of those words in hip-hop because it's low-lying fruit. It's so easy. Everybody fucking does it to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole, but I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing nigga and bitch
as much
every 2 sentences because he's proven himself to be such a incredible lyricist.
That you think it's just too low-hanging fruit for him to use those words.
I feel like